If you're still waiting on an apology in order for you to heal, I'm sorry to tell you, but all you're doing is giving the person who hurt you the key to your power. Because here you are waiting for some kind of external validation, answer, whatever it is that you feel like you need from this other person, when in reality, what you need to be doing is giving that to yourself. These people who have hurt us, who have manipulated us, who have put us through pain, these are actions, these are things that they decided to do. Whether it was heartbreak, whether it was betrayal, whether it was whatever it was, physical abuse, mental, verbal abuse, these are literally actions that these people chose to display onto you. And that forced you to become broken, right? So instead of sitting and thinking, oh, I need to wait for an apology. Oh, I need to wait for this person to see my innocence, see that I'm right? Put that energy into yourself. Because so many of us, we try to, when something happens to us, right, and people do something to us, our first instinct is, let me react, right? Let me react. Let me try to prove a point. Let me try to prove my innocence and prove that I'm right and they're wrong and that I'm not crazy and that what they're saying is a lie. But in doing that, you keep yourself in a cycle, in a loop of you just feeling crazy, right? This brings you out of touch with yourself because now you're acting out of character, right? And when you're busy giving people the satisfaction of a negative reaction, you're missing the point, right? You're missing the fact that you need to come up with a solution to better yourself because now you're broken, right? Let's say somebody cheated on you. Obviously, your heart is broken. If you're sitting and waiting, oh, I need to wait for them to say sorry. I need to wait. I need to prove my point, right? All you're doing is staying with a broken heart. You're not coming up with a solution to better yourself. You're not coming up with a solution to heal yourself in that way, right? And I had to learn this the hard way and realize that it's such a waste of time and energy trying to get people to see your point of view, trying to get people to understand you, right? 5 years ago, I had to walk away from my toxic family. Growing up, I had already knew that they were toxic, but it wasn't until I got into a serious relationship where I decided that I was very happy and I wanted to get myself out of depression because I was depressed for a very long time in my childhood. And I started bettering myself. I started working out. I started eating healthier. I started working. I started, socializing more, bringing myself out more, things like that. And when I started bettering myself is when all these false narratives and lies and rumors started spreading about me. And they would include my partner and say that my partner was starving me and that my partner is keeping me away from the family and that I'm changing and just making it seem like my changes were something negative, when in reality, my changes were actually allowing me to feel comfortable in my skin, to feel comfortable in my body, to actually feel like I was finding my purpose in life, right? So when I started realizing these things and seeing these things for what they were, I started to confront. I would talk to my mom, and anytime I would try to talk to my mom, she would act like she didn't know what I was talking about. She never heard those rumors. I'm being a little bit too sensitive, right? Because that's something that I was always told as a child growing up. And I realized that was very narcissistic of her to do because come to find out, she did know about the rumors. Come to find out that she was making those comments, right? Come to find out these things, right? But those are things that these people would never admit to me. And so my choice to walk away wasn't something that I necessarily planned or I necessarily wanted to do, but it's something that I needed to do for my mental health. And when I decided to walk away, when I decided that I needed to, close that chapter because I knew me sitting around and me trying to get people to admit what they said about me or me trying to clear the air and everybody lying, I realized that all that's going to do is drive me crazy. That will really drive you into a psychosis. Like narcissistic abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, like that will literally send you to a freaking psychosis. And I didn't want that for myself. I was already doing so much better. I was already improving in my life. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this. But when I walked away, I was obviously hurt and I wanted an apology. I wanted people to see my truth, my innocence. I wanted to prove my point. So I would talk to other family members about it and I would tell them my story and I would share my truth and I would try to get these people to understand why I walked away. And it didn't matter because at the end of the day, these people smiled in my face, supported me. But then behind closed doors, it was, oh, I was saying these things because I want attention. Oh, I was saying these things because I'm trying to brainwash other people. Oh, I'm saying these things for whatever reasons, right? And I had to realize, you know what? Bro, I'm not healing. I'm wasting time. I'm wasting time trying to get people to validate my hurt. I'm wasting time trying to explain myself, trying to get people to see my truth, and I'm not healing. All it's doing is giving people more of an excuse to say things about me, to bring me down. And you see, I cared so much about what people thought. And because I cared so much about what people thought, I put my energy externally and waited for that external validation instead of giving myself the validation, because I know what I went through. I know what I experienced, right? And the only person that's going to be able to help me to come out of that is myself. It's not anybody else. So whether or not I get that apology, or whether or not this person tells me I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I'm broken. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I already feel worthless about myself. I already feel insecure about myself. And I can't look externally for somebody to fix that for me, because it's no one's job to heal me. It's no one's job to fill me with security. It's no one's job to fill me with love. It's my job to go within and find that love within myself. For a long time, I would talk about it, and I would try to explain myself, and I would say this, and I would say, oh, but my mom did this. Oh, but my uncle did this to me. Oh, but this person did this to me. And those things are true, but I don't get anything for continuing to speak on it. And instead, all I get is I'm keeping that past alive. I'm keeping those experiences alive, things that already happened. I can't go back, and I can't fix it, because the only moment that exists is this moment right here, right now. And it's what I do today that will determine my future. If I sit around and I keep moping about, oh my God, this is what this person did to me, and oh my God, I need you to see my truth, my worth, that's the cycle, that's the loop I'm going to stay in. I'm never going to heal. I'm never going to evolve. And I did that for so long. And I feel like it really did distract me. It really did keep me out of alignment with who I was and what the purpose of things were. Because a lot of the times when we go through pain, it's not made for us to give up. We don't go through things because, oh, God just hates me and I'm just going to go through these things. Or, oh, I just went through these things because I deserve it. No, we go through pain because it's teaching us, right? It teaches us. Pain is our greatest teacher. And I always tell myself that pain is my greatest teacher, right? For example, I know that I used to be somebody who would overshare a lot, especially with my cousin. I would overshare with my cousin a lot. Come to find out, everything that I would share with my cousins, everything that I would share with certain people, relatives, they would go to the next person and use the things that I said to them against me. Or they would lie, or they would flip the script, all of that, right? And obviously that's a slap in the face. Obviously that's disappointing, right? It's sad as fuck, but in that experience, it taught me, okay, now I know not to overshare. But had I not gone through that experience, had that experience not come to light, had that pain not come to light, and the truth of how these people felt about me come to light, I wouldn't have learned, I would have known. So now I know how to keep certain things to myself. Now I know when I should share things, or how I should display things, right? I know now, because it's something I didn't know before. And that's how you have to look at it. Pain is our greatest teacher, right? And when we go through things, it's not because God wants to punish us. When we go through things, it's not because we're made to suffer, but we're made to learn from that experience. And if we don't learn from the experience, right, then obviously we will continue to go through it until we learn. If I would have overshared to my cousin and I find out, oh my God, she said this, and that behind my back when I left, or when I hung up the FaceTime call, and I kept deciding to overshare, then obviously she's going to keep hurting me. And that's when you have to realize sometimes we do play a role in our own suffering. When you keep yourself in those spaces where you know that these people are not supporting you, when you keep yourself in those spaces where you know these people are grown enough to make the choices that they make, they're grown enough to know that they're hurting you, they're grown enough to know that they're negatively impacting you, especially if you've explained yourself, you've poured your heart out, right? You're playing a role in your suffering by staying there. And that's what it was for me. I knew that, it was to a point where I knew that my mom would use the things I told her against me. There was a lot of times where my mom would try to humiliate me in front of people, make comments about my life in front of people. There would be times where family members would make comments about my life and things that I wouldn't even think they know, but they knew because it came from somebody else's mouth. But I kept myself there. And because of that, I played a role in my own suffering because I wasn't learning from the experience. I kept myself sitting there, hoping that one day people will believe me. One day people will see my truth. One day people will ask me how it is that I feel. But I don't need that. We don't need external validation. We don't need to wait for the applause, the okay, to get up and start doing different, to get up and want to heal ourselves and want to better ourselves. We don't. And oftentimes we think we do. That's how it was for me. I thought, oh, if I start telling people what my mom put me through, then maybe they'll see my mom for who she is. And then, but for what? Because then what? When they find out what kind of person my mom is, what does that do for me? Nothing. It doesn't do anything for me. Right? And then on top of that, it's like, here I am trying to share, but then, oh, she just wants attention. Oh, she just this. Oh, we're still going to distance ourselves from her. We're still going to treat her this way. So it doesn't make sense, You're never going to find peace in doing that. You're just going to keep draining your energy. The only time you're going to find peace is when you stop looking externally for that validation and you start going internally within yourself and realizing that you are the blueprint, realizing that everything starts with you. You want to heal, you want to start feeling better, you want to start feeling good about yourself, heal yourself. Go within yourself. Don't worry about what these people think. Because whether or not you speak your truth or whether or not you're right or wrong, people are going to run with the narratives that they want to run with. And whether or not they like you, they dislike you, it doesn't put more money in your bank account. It doesn't give you more confidence. You don't need other people to feel confident about yourself. You don't need other people to literally start really like trusting yourself. I'm tired of that. I got so tired of it because that's what I did for so long. It's like, oh my God, like I'm just gonna like, now when I tell my story about my trauma or I tell my story about anything, it's mostly to give advice and to let other people know, like, because there are a lot of people that go through things and I'm like, you know what, like, I genuinely feel like my purpose is to help raise the vibration here on earth and help uplift other people. And in doing that, I feel like telling my story, will help a lot of people because there's a lot of things that people go through that they don't really speak about. So that's why I speak. But in the beginning, when I first started content, bro, and I would speak, it's like, oh my God, I need people to see that I'm innocent. I need people to see that I'm a good person. But for what? For what? Because I was born in this world alone. I'm going to die alone at the end of the day. So what do I need these people validation for? What do I need these people to tell me that I'm right, that I'm a good person for? When I should know that I'm a good person within myself. It doesn't start with them, it starts with you.